how to get priority processing for your startup. This is Andrea Bailey from Yalla, Canada, and I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, an RCIC. I'm also the only RCIC to have moved to Canada on the startup visa program. So I have a very good understanding of how this program works from a consultant point of view as well as from a startup founder point of view. As you're probably aware, the processing time for SUV applications have dramatically increased from 12 months that it used to take prior to the pandemic all the way up to 40 months now. Just receiving a permanent file number from the IRCC can take up to 22 months. Given that 3.5 years in immigration is a really long time, what are some of the ways that we can fast track your application? For those who have already applied, unfortunately, there is not much that you can possibly do at this point in time, and you just have to be patient and write this out, let the process take its course. But new entrants to the SUV program can take advantage of priority processing. This means that you can have a decision on your application in 18 months as opposed to 40 months, which means that you can save almost 2 years of processing time. The way to access priority processing is to get your letter of support from a designated organization that has been identified by the IRCC as one that does offer priority processing. So, firstly, if you are supported by an angel investor and listed on the IRCC website, you would be eligible for priority processing. You would be required to get a commitment of $75,000 from the angel investor to access priority processing. Idea stage or early stage startups are often considered for a letter of support if the startup can show and demonstrate that the concept is viable and innovative. Secondly, if you are supported by one of the venture capital funds on the IRCC website, you would again be eligible for priority processing by the IRCC. Letters of support from VCs are generally more challenging to secure as you need an investment of $200,000 from the VC, and they do not usually support idea stage startups. Typically, a VC would require to see some traction before they commit an amount of $200,000 towards your startup. When it comes to business incubators, there are two ways of getting access to priority processing. One way is if the business incubator has committed capital towards your startup. And the other way is if the incubator is part of Canada's tech network. Do understand that due diligence by organizations that commit capital to your startup is way more rigorous as compared to organizations that issue a letter of support without committing capital. And therefore, it is normal for this process of due diligence to take several months, but this is actually good for your application since IRCC is also aware that you have passed a more stringent test in order to be admitted into the startup visa program. In closing, I would recommend that you visit the IRCC website for a list of all the designated organizations. The ones that offer priority processing are clearly indicated on the website. This is Andrea from Yalla, Canada. If you want to know more and understand how you can make the startup visa your route to Canada, get in touch with me. My details are in the description.